It's really starting to feel like autumn because the coffee shops are bringing out the seasonal drinks. Hi, I'm Hannah. Thanks for watching. I am sharing my fall knitting plans, Q3, autumn, all of those things. The first thing is I live in the United States in North Carolina, so we probably won't hit like peak sweater weather or wearable sweater weather until about November. So I have some time to make sweaters before it's cold enough to wear them. The second thing is I know not all of my viewers are experiencing winter or fall, and so if you are in the southern hemisphere, please let me know what you're knitting for spring and summer, because I would also love to add those to my queue, and we might have other friends that are in the same boat. Okay, the second thing is I'm gonna share first the yarn I have for the sweater and then the sweater that I have picked out. I am knitting from my yarn pantry currently, and so it sort of limits what sweaters I can make. So I often love a sweater and I want to make it, but then I don't have the yarn in my, that I already own. And so I have just been saving those and waiting for next year. I also know that there will be some sweaters released that I will want to make. And so some of these may not happen. Probably half of them won't happen, but this, in good faith, is what I am hoping to make this year. It's also a little more fun because I'm starting with the yarn and then choosing a pattern. If you have a favorite pattern that works with my yarn, then you can tell me, and I'm definitely open to, changing that up, especially if you've used the yarn that I have here before. So the first sweaters quantity that I have left is Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino, and the color is Marzipan. I originally got this during a fundraiser that Knitting for Olive did, and I got it for my husband, but then the sweater pattern didn't really vibe as much with him, and so I have since got him a new sweaters quantity, and then I have taken this for myself. So my first thought is to make a striped sweater with it. I have a lot of Knitting for Olive Merino singles, or not singles, they're just the little ones left. I have quite a few of just these left, and I also have a lot of contrasting mohair to go with them. Oh, I also have this one. I don't know that it really goes quite as much. So I was thinking this could be cute in a stripe hype sweater by Veronica Lindbergh, or I was thinking that I could just do one color. That might be more wearable for myself. One of my intentions for my making this fall is to make these sweaters really wearable for me. So the vibes for the fall are everyday wear, casual, but still classic, if that makes sense. So I can feel like I'm wearing a timeless sweater that I can pass down to, someone 50 years from now, but also it's casual enough to wear every day. I could throw it on and wear it to the park or something like that. So I feel like just the one color stripe might give me more of that, but having this is a little more fun. Anyway, those are just my vibes for the fall. I have seen so many awesome videos on knitting, what people are making for the fall, and their vibes are I saw one that was bright orange, and I saw one that was bringing neon green into the fall. The color trends are out. I love following the Wandering Flock. She has some just gorgeous colors. And Camellia Fiber Co. I think she put out a color trend on Instagram. Just absolutely beautiful. I just don't have that in my pantry right now. Hopefully next year. But anyway, I'm trying to decide between the stripes, and then the second option for this is to make something textured but one color. So the options I was thinking for that were Snow Crocus by Midori Hirose or Solitaire by Rachel Brockman, which is from Lima magazine. Both of those give off a very elegant vibes, but also they give off I could wear this with tennis shoes and jeans to the park. I don't know if I would, because it's white and that's part of the issue I'm having currently, but I could if I wanted to. The Solitaire one is definitely a little bit more dressy, and I love that look. And I feel as Ollie gets older, my son, he is 2.5, as he gets older, I will feel less concerned about getting a bunch of stuff like mud or chocolate or just dirt or anything on my clothes. And so then I will go back to maybe more fancy, elegant knitwear. But until then, I will be making playground sweaters. Okay, so that's my first sweaters quantity. I'm a little limited this year in terms of, like I said, like seeing patterns that I like and wanting to make them, and I'm trying to go having the yarn and then making the patterns. I only have a few sweaters quantity left in my yarn pantry, and I really want to use them. Okay, the second one that I have is a combo. This is Knitting for Olive Merino, which is a fingering weight, and the color is Plum Rose. And then I have this Suri alpaca that I got from my local yarn shop. I think it's by Lang. Yes, it's by Lang. So I am planning to hold these together for like a fluffy cloud sweater. But then I also have a sweaters quantity of Knitting for Olive Merino, and then I'm like, maybe I should just make a fingering weight. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. But it might be more wearable, if I'm honest. This is so hard. Okay, but here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking cozy classic sweatshirt vibes, because I have never made a sweater with Suri. I've tried many things. I think I've probably seen them on my YouTube channel of just different swatches that I've made, and none of them have really worked out because the Suri doesn't work with like cabling, and this one at least for me. And so I'm thinking more of like a Lento. I think this would make a nice Lento. It's more sweatshirty, and the Suri will elevate it a little bit is my thought. So it could still be airy because it has such a loose gauge. That's my thought for this. If I decide to do Lento, I'll probably cast that on soon because it would be quick. And I'm all about that right now. I just finished up a sample knit, and I do have one planned for the fall. So that will hinder my fall knitting just a little bit. I only have one planned for the fall, which will be nice. And it's got a, it's maybe like worsted or Aran weight. And so it's gonna be more quick than doing like fingering weight, which is what I have been doing this month. Okay, my next sweaters quantity is Drops Lima. I originally purchased this for a November jacket by Petite Knit, but then after knitting the September jacket, I decided it was too much and just not, like I just didn't want to do it. It just didn't sound fun anymore. And so I have been trying to decide what to do with this. Obviously I have a lot because that is like a mid-length brioche cardigan. And so I have quite a bit of this, potentially a sweaters quantity and a slipover quantity. So my first thought is a wrap cardigan. That is what I've been wanting recently. I love the look of the wrap cardigans that I've seen. So I'm between the Robinson wrap cardigan by Florence, handmade by Florence, I think is her name, on Instagram, and then also the late summer wrap by Knitting for Olive. So the first one, it has much tighter sleeves and also has a tighter waist. And I like that look because a lot of my jeans and black pants are really wide. It's also more cropped, which would go well with what I currently have in my wardrobe. The late summer wrap is a lot looser, and I think it's also lower, which is fine because I plan to wear it with something like this or a turtleneck, and so I just really can't decide. I'm leaning towards the wrap cardigan, the Robinson wrap cardigan, just because I think I could modify the sleeves to be looser. I've seen that complaint on Ravelry, not that they're too tight, just that they are tight, and I don't really like things to be that tight on my arms. And so I think I would need to modify it a little bit to have a little more ease in the arms. Okay, the other thing that I have on my mind is the Friendship Pullover by Aimee Sher. She designed it for Flock, I believe, and I love the cable up the front. It's like a classic, as I was saying, it feels like a playground sweater, but also I could wear it somewhere nice if I wanted to, but I could throw it on with a pair of jeans and tennis shoes and I'd be ready to go down the slide. I have enough for this. I also met gauge. I swatched all three of these because I have enough yarn for it, and I just can't decide. I think the problem with only using the yarn in my pantry is I just feel like there's a lot of pressure on each sweater that I choose to make, because if I choose, in my head, if I choose to make the wrap cardigan, then I can no longer make the Friendship Pullover because I don't have another DK weight sweaters quantity. But what I need to be thinking is, instead, I'll just make it in January. So which one do I want for November? I think I want the wrap cardigan. Okay, moving on. So the next sweaters quantity I don't actually have with me. It is a sweaters quantity of black Cascade 220 and then also black Suri to hold with it. I got this from sadly a local yarn shop in my state closed, and so I got a sweaters quantity from their closing sale, and then my mom actually bought it for me, and then it's gonna be for my birthday in October. So I don't have it to show you. Just imagine I'm holding up this beautiful black fluffy yarn. It is a true black and not like a gray, which is what I had been hoping for. But I am thinking I want to make Aimee Sher's Matthew Pullover. What I'm going for with this pattern is I want something elegant but not overly feminine. And so I think having that boxy sort of Gansey style up here will help with that. So it also is called Matthew. So I feel like all the testers I've seen have been women, but I feel like maybe it's a little bit more masculine. And that's kind of what I'm wanting for just like an oversized, boxy, black sweater. So I think that's what I want to make. I think the pattern will be out by then as well. And so I could swatch and cast on like immediately, and that would be wonderful. Okay, the last thing I'm going to share is this. I have this Eco Wool. I have one of these. So this is Undyed Peruvian Highland wool, and it's 478 yards. So not really a sweater's quantity, but also it's like bulky weight. I definitely think it's more than enough for a slipover. I could do textured or not. I'm thinking I want something between like holiday slipover and the Lana vest by Irene Lynn, because I just wanted to have a little texture, but not like a ton of texture, because I don't want to spend forever making it. That's part of it. Just because I don't know, I love cables and texture and I gravitate towards that, but I think this fall I want things that are just a little bit more instantly gratifying, because up until now I've knit a lot of samples. I've been fingering weight tees, I've done like the Boosh and Friends, things like that. And so for myself, I'm like, I just want to make this and I want it to be like as quick as it can be for knitting, which is like, you know, still weeks or months of knitting. But yes, I wanted to have a little texture, whether I have to put my own on an existing pattern or if you guys have a pattern suggestion. I just haven't really seen a one color textured slipover. I also like the Weekend, I think it's the Weekend slipover, that has a little bit more over the shoulder, so I feel like I could wear that with a long sleeve shirt and that would be cute just to wear out and about. So yes, that is what I have planned. And now I'm going to share some honorable mentions. The first is the Tonight Top by Lily Kate Makes. I think her name is Lily Kate France, and it has this lovely high collar and some texture down on the side. And I was really influenced by Kendra from the Balanced Skein. She made the most beautiful Tonight Top. And I have some, I think I have enough Woolberry Fiber Co. in Tweed, and I think that would be a very nice like tweed tank top. I don't have anything like that, and so that's probably why I haven't made it yet, because I am nervous about making it. I'll put a picture of the yarn and the pattern because I left it downstairs and my husband is down there. So I cannot get to it right now. So that is something I've been thinking about making. That is also a garment, but it's not quite on the list for right now. It feels more like an honorable mention. The second thing is anything color work. So I've loved the Petite knit with the flowers. I can't remember the name, but the one that just came out, it's 2 colors and it has flowers on the top. It's similar to the drawing sweater, if you've seen that, but based on her previous sizing, I'm assuming that it's size inclusive. And also, I don't have the yarn for that, and so I am waiting until I am gonna get some more yarn. All that to say, I am planning to take a few trips this fall, and so I will be getting some yarn on those trips. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it all works out. And so I might have some new cast-ons with new yarn, because I always feel inspired by new yarn. Anyway, gosh, this was so short. I feel like I usually have a lot to say on my plans videos. Maybe because I'm running out of sweaters quantities. I don't know if I'll have enough sweaters quantities to do like a December planning video. So I will just, I'll probably start reviewing my like spring planning and second like summer planning, and then reviewing this one again. I know I'm not going to make everything, but I'm just having all this cast on energy right now. I think because I finished up again sample knits, finished up a gift knit for my son, and so I want to cast everything on. Okay, I hope you have a lovely weekend, happy knitting, and let me know what you're making for this autumn.